Okay, thank you so much, Jennifer and Becca. I want to welcome you all today, this beautiful Friday afternoon. And I'll just give a minute to see if anybody would like to turn their camera on. You're welcome to do that. If not, we'll go ahead and start, but feel free at any time to join us. So good afternoon and welcome to our session, Poetry as a Tool for Wellness. We are delighted and excited to be here. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I want to offer a special thanks to Greg Hanch, who you all know is the Executive Director of NAMI Texas, for inviting us to submit a proposal to this conference and for his support through our process of preparation. Greg and I first met in 2015. He was then the assistant director of a fairly new Austin Clubhouse. And I was seeking a site to bring this program, Poetry as a Tool for Wellness. Greg welcomed me and the new poetry program to Austin Clubhouse. And it grew into a very popular and effective series. That's what you'll be learning about today. In our second year at the Clubhouse, members who had participated in the series of poetry sessions were invited to train to become peer facilitators. 3 of them are here with me today. I'd like to introduce you to Martha Ward, Athena Mcclendon, and Kristen Thompson. Martha was our first certified peer facilitator, and she offered sessions at the Clubhouse season after season, and now she offers them beyond in the community at large. Athena followed her the following season, and she not only brought Poetry as a Tool for Wellness to Clubhouse, but she introduced us all to the idea of introducing new sessions to the 8 that come with the program. For instance, that first year when the holidays rolled around, Athena created a special poetry session called Holiday Blues and Blessings to help people through that time. Kristen Thompson was invited by Martha and mentored by both Martha and Athena to become our 3rd certified peer facilitator. She not only conducts beautiful in-person sessions, but she met the challenge of creating very vibrant and continuing sessions via Zoom, which she continues to do at Austin Clubhouse on a monthly basis. These 3 outstanding peer facilitators have also stepped up to offer training to a literally worldwide audience since we pivoted to Zoom as a result of the pandemic. Today, they're going to share their experiences, both as participants, as facilitators, and now as trainers. So I want to give you a brief overview of what we planned for this session today. We're going to begin with a 20-minute presentation that's illustrated to show you exactly what this program is about, how it was developed, and we'll highlight a new resource that makes it accessible to you and your community, the Peer Facilitator Manual. The facilitators are then going to offer you a taste of poetry as a tool for wellness. They will then share briefly about their own journeys and the benefits they've experienced as participants, facilitators, and trainers. Our objective today is that you will leave with a really solid, deep knowledge of what poetry as a tool for wellness is all about, and excited to consider it as a tool for yourself and for your community, and joining us to become a peer facilitator so that you can offer it in your own community. So with that, I'm going to begin the presentation. I'm just going to share my screen as we move along. And we're going to have plenty of time. I forgot to mention, at the end of our presentation, we've left 15 minutes for questions and answers. So if you think of any questions, jot them down so that we can be sure and have time to respond to you. Okay. And just if your picture squares are obscuring some of your slide, you might want to click on the single little dash at the top of the picture squares, which will minimize that for you. So I've had the pleasure to bring together in this program and in this particular manual the groundbreaking work of several pioneers in the field of poetic medicine. And what I mean by poetic medicine is simply using poetry as a catalyst or as a tool for helping people learn about themselves, about one another, and for processing experiences, memories, and feelings. As it says on the cover of our Peer Facilitator manual, we need poetry not for answers, but for a way through. I want to open with a poem by one of these groundbreaking pioneers, John Fox, who is the founder and president of the Institute for Poetic Medicine that funds this project. Within this poem, you'll hear the whole emotional journey of the experience of coming to poetry. Poetry. She skates boldly onto the page, tips one vulnerable foot back and forth slowly, till finally the edge of a toe cuts a simple, sharp line through the world's cold resistance. And with that plain courage, a statement of intention begins. And you can't turn back any longer from the weight of feeling and letting go into the flow that follows. Poetry is a choice to feel it all, not all at once, but gradually to sink down within ourselves, to give what fear we hold behind our knees the gravity and grace, to discover what makes our whole world turn, the place our necessary weight lifts to lighten joy. As I hear this poem, I'm picturing so many participants and their journeys with this program, Poetry as a Tool for Wellness. They come in so vulnerable, like that vulnerable foot. They summon their courage. They create a strong intention, not only for their own healing, but for the healing of others in the poetry session. The discoveries we all make in the journey together, and the joy of community, connection, and a heavy weight lifted. The development of the Poetry as a Tool for Wellness and its manual has been a long and winding road, but we feel like its effectiveness is due in large part to the deep roots it has in the community it serves, people facing mental health challenges. Over 17 years ago, Lisa DeVuono, who was a poet and creativity coach, began holding a series of poetry groups in several Pennsylvania clubhouses. Now, many of you may know Clubhouse is an international network of member-based centers that support people living with a mental health diagnosis. After 8 years of facilitating engaging and transformative groups, the Institute for Poetic Medicine published Lisa's lessons in this slim guide, Poetry as a Tool for Recovery. A few years later, Cindy Washabaugh, working at Magnolia Clubhouse in Cleveland, and myself working at Austin Clubhouse, were inspired to create a more robust version of this original guide. And we were especially interested in empowering peer facilitators through the creation of a manual. Cindy created the template that makes this manual so user-friendly. And I worked to bring together the best elements of everyone's contributions including the aesthetic design of a graphic artist, Valerie Knight. Here's a photo of the manual. The current version is a true manual. It guides peer facilitators page by page through each of its 8 strength and skills-based sessions. It's equally well suited to people who follow along a wide curriculum of previous experience leading groups. The binder contains everything someone would need to offer this wellness program. And each session has been extensively used in different localities to inform its final contents and design. We gathered together valuable tips. It's processing. We gathered together valuable tips that we gleaned from years of piloting this program. And these tips cover balancing the roles of staying on theme, being sensitive to what emerges within your group, and being aware of the time and keeping things moving forward. Specific language is provided to sensitively respond to likely situations, such as a long-winded participant or getting back on topic, and questions to begin or keep participants engaged. The core of this program are these 8 individually themed sessions. Now, they were developmentally sequenced into an 8-week series, beginning with reinvention and ending with self-care. For each of these sessions, there are specific objectives that involve the participants in practicing skills and honing specific strengths, such as listening, cultivating empathy, making healthy choices, and coming up with options for self-care. While these were designed to be offered in a series, every session was also designed as a standalone, and we often offer them in that way. Someone may attend a few sessions, have to miss a few, and come right back in with no sense they have missed anything integral. It also allows someone to offer these sessions weekly, monthly, or in whatever way suits your community. We accomplish the learning and skills objectives through using quotes, especially poems, discussion questions, writing poetry, and sharing and responding to one another's writing. The manual offers suggested language and also identifies actions that you need to take as a facilitator, such as pass out the poem or invite someone to read. And it does this by using these consistent icons on the page so that you can easily locate yourself and what's needed next in your session. We also decided to include tools that we had developed ourselves as we went along in the program, and we included those in the appendix. For example, a template for a sign-in sheet, and a checklist to help you evaluate how the class went or to plan for your class. Also, a set of guidelines that we came up with for how to respond to one another's poetry in a sensitive and helpful way. Now I want to show you what one session looks like. Each session is designed for 90 minutes and is broken down into these 7 segments. Each segment is presented on its own page with cues to move into a new section. This allows a smooth transition if you're co-facilitating, which many of the peer facilitators enjoy. And it also creates a strong pattern or rhythm that is woven throughout the manual. We observe how this lends early on to an establishment of safety. Participants know once they've gone to the first session what to expect in the continuing sessions. The flow of these sessions from the introduction through the closing give to them a deliberate sense of beginning, a full, rich, and interactive middle, and a satisfying sense of closure. I like to use the image of a swimming pool when I describe how we progress through a single class. We all start together in the shallow end with simple introductions. And then as we progress through the material, we're moving into deeper waters, deeper emotional territory. But throughout the class, everything is by invitation. So everyone chooses the depth they would like to go to in any particular time. We begin with quotes about our subject or theme, and that starts to stir up our own thoughts, opinions, and experiences about the theme. Quotes and poems are also provided on their own separate sheets so that they can be easily copied and shared. Some of the qualities that you'll find in the poems we use are the following. Poems are easily accessible, which means anyone can enter them. They use very simple, clear language, and they're manageable in length, never more than a page, and often much shorter. The themes are those that are universal in our experience. Everyone has come across this theme somehow in their life, but the poems themselves invite a variety of responses, and we welcome that. We look for poems with some striking imagery, like this one that holds up the image of a dented cup you've had since childhood. And we also look for poems that use the first person, I, me, or mine. And if they don't use the first person, we'll substitute that just to bring the poem closer to ourselves. This is a peek inside a poetry circle at Austin Clubhouse one winter. While you can't see the facilitator in the photo, she is seated along the circle with all the participants, listening to this gentleman read the poem for the day. The facilitator has read it first, and he's offering the second reading. The poem is called Snowdrops, and he begins, do you know what I was? How I lived? You know what despair is. Then winter should have meaning for you. Notice that each participant has a copy of the poem in their lap, and they're following along. They've been invited to listen for words or lines that have meaning for them, that touch or move them. Note how deep their attention is. When the reader finishes with these lines, afraid, yes, but among you again, crying, yes, risk, joy, in the raw wind of your new world. He looks up, smiles, and makes a gesture of real accomplishment and pleasure. These sessions have been offered to a very diverse group of participants in the years that we've been offering them through Austin Clubhouse. Men and women of all ages, races, class, culture, abilities, sexual orientation, etc. This gives us a lot of confidence in its universal appeal. I want to give you a flavor of some of the unique ways that we invite people into poetry. What you're seeing here is a background to a celebration that we hold following the 8 classes. And in this celebration, participants who would like to can come like at a lunch and share their poetry with their friends. So the display board is showing pictures from one of our sessions where we bring in large photos of all different kinds of animals. In this session, we are cultivating empathy. So participants are invited to choose an animal image that they resonate with, that they can empathize with, and they will then write from that image. In another session, participants choose a fingerful of cut up words that are passed around in a word bowl. And they then take those words and glue them onto a colored card. What you see here is a sample of those poems that were made. This is one of our favorite classes, and it often entices the most reluctant writer to participate. This class lifts up the aspects of play, magic, fun, and making that goes into poetry. They are literally composing each poem on the page. The element of surprise is very fundamental to this session, as words and lines come together in very unique ways. I'll give you an example of a poem that comes out of this session. It's actually the one on the blue card. Little poem, listen to my tiny inner blue voice. Endure with courage, know gratitude, wish for kindness here. The next slide, unfortunately, was a video clip, but you're going to get to hear Athena live in just a few minutes. This is also at a celebration session where Athena is receiving her certificate for becoming a peer facilitator. And she is inviting those in the crowd to do what she has done, to take the risk. How worth it is, she says, to share your soul in this way. What are the benefits that we've noticed from this program? Well, of course, first we see people build upon those skills that are emphasized in each session. But in addition to that, it's remarkable the confidence and self-esteem building that we've witnessed. Here is a gentleman that attended the first series, and he's standing in front of his friends at a lunch gathering. He's bought himself a journal, and he has filled it with his poetry and is very proud to share it to a very receptive audience. We also notice how much it builds community, even within a community. For example, Austin Clubhouse. Many people reported that coming to the poetry session helped them get to know people on a deeper level and connect with them more closely. And finally, we have witnessed the absolute transformation of both participants and facilitators, and you'll hear more about that directly from our facilitators. I'd like to turn it to Kristen now, and Kristen is actually going to invite you, along with Athena and Martha, to have a taste of what it's like to be in a poetry as a tool for wellness class. So thank you again for your attention.
I'm going to share a poem with you from our self-care session. It's called My Help is in the Mountain by Nancy Wood. She describes her method of self-care and how it is important to her. Let's read our poem and see how we might relate it to our lives and to our own forms of self-care. I'm going to share my screen. So we can better get a feel for our poem. I'll read it aloud the first time, and then I will ask for a volunteer to read it aloud too. My help is in the mountain, where I take myself to heal the earthly wounds that people give to me. I find a rock with sun on it, and a stream where the water rains gentle, and the trees which one by one give me company. So I must stay for a long time, until I have grown from that rock, and the stream is running through me, and I cannot tell myself from one tall tree. Then I know that nothing touches me, nor makes me run away. My help is in the mountain, that I take away with me. Earth, cure me. Earth, receive my woe. Rock, strengthen me. Rock, receive my weakness. Rain, wash my sadness away. Rain, receive my doubt. Sun, make sweet my song. I would like to invite a volunteer to read our poem the second time. I can't see you, so please unmute yourself or raise your hand and Martha can call on you.
Oh, I think I saw a raised hand.
Paige is asking to unmute herself, I think.
Oh, she was asking to unmute herself.
Go ahead, Paige.
Oh, Paige agreed. Thank you, Paige.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. My help is in the mountain, where I take myself to heal the earthly wounds that people give to me. I find a rock with sun on it and a stream where the water rains gentle, and the trees which one by one give me company. So I must stay for a long time, until I have grown from that rock and the stream is running through me. And I cannot tell myself from one tall tree. Then I know that nothing touches me nor makes me run away. My help is in the mountain, that I take away with me. Earth, cure me. Earth, receive my woe. Rock, strengthen me. Rock, receive my weakness. Rain, wash my sadness away. Rain, receive my doubt. Sun, make sweet my song.
Thank you, Paige. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
So let's talk about our responses to our poem. Is there a line that touches you? For example, the earthly wounds that people give to me. Feel free for anyone to unmute themselves and say a line that touches you.
I like the line, it says, rock, receive my weakness.
Thank you. Is there another?
I must stay for a long time.
In the chat from Dulcie, whoops, was also a note of a line. All right, Dulcie. Dulcie, can you read that line, please, out loud to us? Okay, her line was, earth, cure me, reminds me to ground myself. Thank you, Dulcie.
Thank you, everyone. In our actual sessions, we share 2 poems, and we invite people to share a line, a phrase, an image that really touches them, and then elaborate about that. We don't have time to do that today, but we appreciate the participation that you have offered so far. Athena is going to take us now through our writing process. Athena.
Thank you, Chris. Today we are going to write a 1-line poem. Remembering we're not trying to write the perfect line for a perfect poem. This type of poetry is about letting our hearts and souls speak. Trust that once you begin, you can simply listen for what wants to come through your pen to paper. Poetry gives us the freedom to write any way we like. With this 1-liner, it can be a short line or a long line, with or without rhyming, and the focus is on the theme. You can write about your experiences and your feelings, drawing from those to create this 1-line poem. You can use images as well to help you express the way you see or feel something regarding this theme. This is enabled by the use of writing prompts. So at this time, Kristen will share her screen so that you may see the 2 writing prompts we have today. My help is, then I know. Now that we have introduced the prompts, these will remain on the screen. You are invited to choose one or come up with one of your own that relates to the theme of self-care. Let me say again, these prompts are only to jumpstart your 1-lined poem. It is 1 line, and that we will have 1 minute to write it. It's okay, it goes by quickly, but you'll have time. So we will create the 1-line poem in 1 minute. And I will let you know when time is close. Like I'll give you a 10 seconds left marker. So if you have your pen and something to write with, something else to write with, or paper, scratch paper, it doesn't have to be line paper, but something you can notate what's coming up for you. We will begin our time to create.
Wait, can I ask a quick question?
Oh, yes, yes.
On those prompts, are we responding to both of them or just one?
Only one.
Okay, gotcha.
Only one. For the 1-line poem, you're using 1 prompt or create one of your own to create your 1-line poem. That was in my notes. I don't know why I see that, but thank you for asking that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. So here it is again. We will have 1 minute. You can choose one of the prompts to jumpstart your 1-line poem or choose something that relates to the theme. We'll have 50 seconds, and then I'll let you know that there's 10 seconds left to complete the 1 minute writing time. Are you ready? Our time begins now. We have about 10 seconds left. Now that our time has ended, we encourage you to continue to come back to this line and writing at a later time. In our sessions, we give the opportunity to the participants as well to just finish what they started. And now Martha will guide us in the next section. Martha?
Thank you, Athena. So now that we've finished our writing, we invite everyone who would like to share and to read their poem. Our guidelines are share only what you would like to, and if you prefer not to read, you can enjoy listening to the others. Be respectful of what others have written. Listen without making suggestions for change. We are here to give our voice to our own work and our ears to the work of others. Anyone feel ready to share? Yes, Tracy.
Hi. Yeah, I'm responding to Then I Know. Actually, it's Then I Knew for me. And it's the earth swallowed me up in shame, but hope puked me back up again. Then I knew I was worth saving.
I'd like to hear that another time if we may.
Sure. The earth swallowed me up in shame, but hope puked me back up again. Then I knew I was worth saving.
It's a real affirmation.
Yeah.
Real transformation there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who might like to read next? Yes, John.
I compose a poem, then I know myself. I compose a poem, then I know myself.
Thank you. Thank you. And who would like to read? We'll have at least one more before we move on.
Paige has her hand raised.
Oh, okay.
Paige?
Oh, Paige, great.
Hi.
Hi.
So I did my help. My help is in the knowing of you for all your days and hoping that you too will remember on a better day.
Thank you. Read that one more time, just a tad louder, please.
Okay. My help is in the knowing of you for all your days and hoping that you too will remember on a better day.
Very compassionate. Thank you. Well, thanks to everyone for sharing and for listening. Reading our poems aloud is powerful. As a powerful way to hear what's in our own hearts and on our minds. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Kristen.
Thank you, Martha.
Kristen.
Thank you, Athena. Thank you, Martha. Before we open up for questions and answers, we want to each introduce ourselves and give you some of our own experiences with poetry as a tool for wellness, as well as facilitators and trainers. Martha, would you like to go first?
Sure, thank you, Kristen. Hello, I'm Martha, and in 2013, I was really forced to retire due to deep clinical depression that had begun the year prior. bipolar 2, not diagnosed for 20 plus years of frequent depressions and occasional amazing highs. Talk therapy, medications helped me to level out eventually, but it left me stripped. I was stripped of dealing with just acts of daily living, and initially agoraphobia. I needed structure, and I learned about Austin Clubhouse. Desperate to change, I found the daily workday very helpful, and Poetry for Wellness was being offered by someone I knew from a community organization, Kathy Capers. From the first session forward, I could feel the barriers that I had erected to begin to be safe begin to melt away. As I found out how to express myself authentically in the safe container of each Poetry as a Tool for Wellness session. It became my primary reason for going to the Clubhouse. After attending 8 curriculum classes, Kathy asked me who would like to train as a poetry facilitator. With some trepidation, I raised my hand and said, yes. Kathy's thoughtful training and initial co-facilitating helped me to build my confidence to solo. Accompanying my peers through each session opened our trust, vulnerability, mutual appreciation, and mutual encouragement. So many found their authentic voices. As demonstrated at the end of each series by a poetry reading celebration at lunch with all Clubhouse members and the publication of 2 anthologies. I have presented now for 5 years at Clubhouse and in the community and with Clubhouse members at community events. NAMI was active at the Clubhouse and offering classes to peers and their loved ones. I'm particularly grateful for the session to guiding me how to tell my story as an advocate for speaking truth in the community about mental illness. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Athena, would you like to go next?
Yes. My name is Athena Mcclendon, and I'm so glad to be here today because a few years ago, I wanted to die. I was overwhelmed by my health challenges, which manifested in my lack of mental care. I was alone, no connection to family, no life partner, and low self-preservation. I did not want to burden my friends who were far away, and they lived far away. The things that kept me visible were living in a Foundation Communities studio apartment, my scheduled counseling and doctor's appointments, which were many. I was attending synagogue and keeping the high holy days. And then I walked into the Austin Clubhouse. For this changed my life, but Poetry as a Tool for Wellness saved my life. I went through the 8-week sessions and I was asked about facilitating, and I didn't feel capable because at the time my cognitive functions had been severely compromised. I could not read. I could not read, and I could not read with retention or comprehension. Oh, but I could feel. And with the mentorship of Kathy Capers, I learned how to trust the script and trust the process. As a trained facilitator, Poetry as a Tool for Wellness, I am mindful that participants are at different stages and places of their journey. In-person sessions make creating that safe space vitally important. And in the virtual space, this is still a priority. But modeling facilitation by letting people know that the script is their guide. Anyone on any learning level, cognitive impairment, or health challenges can guide a session. Today, I serve on the board of directors for Austin Clubhouse. I'm currently employed full-time with Foundation Communities. I'm continuing my rabbinical training, and I started a small internet business creating digital content for small nonprofits. And finally, I'm before you today, healing, mindful, and humbled on the precipice of becoming a peer support specialist to guide others in their journey of healing. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Athena. My name is Kristen Thompson, and I'm so grateful to be here with you all. Let me first start off by sharing that in 2012, at the age of 46, I was diagnosed with having bipolar 1 with psychotic features, PTSD, and OCD. I was living with my parents, and we had no idea of what to do or who could help. And then we were referred to NAMI. My parents were led to the program Family to Family, where they learned about my diagnoses and how they could help support me and care for me, as well as get the support that they needed desperately from a group. This program was a life preserver to a capsized family. We are forever grateful to NAMI and to my first psychiatrist. I first experienced the power, the healing power of poetry while in the throes of my mental illness and my crippling and unmanageable symptoms. I was also in the middle of a 4-year clinical depression. My life had become unhinged and upended with a job loss in 2017. My social anxiety was so high that I could only talk to family. Mentally and spiritually, I was broken, shattered. And then I found the Austin Clubhouse, a haven for adults living with mental health diagnoses. It was through attending the 8-week series of Poetry as a Tool for Wellness that I began finding my life and my voice again. Although I began writing poetry in junior high, rarely did I read my poetry out loud or to anyone else. I was so surprised that I could feel safe in our poetry circles. I could share my vulnerabilities and my emotions through our discussions, our writing, and in sharing my poems. I had the pleasure of hearing other poets share their poems too. We laughed, we cried, we found our voices. We stood up and read our poems. Our self-esteem flourished. The poetry sessions are extremely popular at the Austin Clubhouse. I was asked to become a facilitator and started co-facilitating with Kathy Capers, and then began to lead solo sessions. I became a certified peer facilitator in 2020, and then the pandemic hit. As facilitators, we had to pivot to a virtual platform. I found that I was able to create an intimate and safe environment, both in person and online. For 18 months, I have led poetry sessions virtually for as many as 21 people at the Clubhouse. We have found that the ideal number in a 90-minute session is 10 to 12. It gets a little rowdy in there otherwise. I get the best of both worlds because now the Clubhouse has reopened and I get to offer sessions in person as well as virtually. I've found a purpose and my passion Through it all, I began recovering my mental health. I also have the opportunity to witness people in their healing and finding their voices again, where sometimes they are so lost in stigma. It's a powerful experience to witness. Our goal is to get healing poetry out to as many communities as we can so that others can experience what we have. Since 2020, we have had the pleasure of introducing and training folks from around the world, Australia, England, and most recently, New Delhi, India. This has been an enriching and empowering experience, and I have truly appreciated and have enjoyed facilitating with this team. Through the support of my family, medical team, the Clubhouse, facilitating, and now working part-time, my life is very full. NAMI helps save me and my family, just as it does every day. Healing poetry can too. We are proof of that. NAMI has so many tools for those grappling with their mental health. Our hope is that you will choose ours too. Thank you. Kathy, would you like to take us through to questions and answers?
Yes, but before I do, I want to thank you, Kristen, Athena, Martha, for this moving, very moving testimony. More than any description of our program or its benefits, your lived experience is what provides the most compelling evidence of its transformative power. Your willingness to participate from the outset and your courage to continue sharing your experience and take on the training as well in order to offer this to others has been truly life-enhancing and will continue to be for so many. So I just want to bow to each of you and thank you for what you are doing. And we are approaching the time now. Hopefully you all have a lot of questions. If not, we have a few other things that we jotted down that we might take some time to talk a little bit about. But I'd love to open it up, first of all, for any questions about the program or any questions that you have of any of us. We're happy to be here for you. And just feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. If you're more comfortable, you could put it in the chat.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have to be a member of the Austin Clubhouse to join a class?
No, great question. No, you do not. It's where the program got its start, but it's gone well beyond that. And you are welcome to Austin Clubhouse to come to their monthly classes. Thank you for that question. Kristen, did you want to respond?
I just also wanted as well to say that you're welcome to come to the Clubhouse, but Kathy's going to share with you in a little bit some other opportunities for you to take a class or to enjoy some sessions with us.
And at the Austin Clubhouse, what time do those sessions start? And which Thursday of the month do they occur?
They're on Thursdays. They're on the third Thursdays. We have dinner at 5 o'clock. And then our sessions begin at about 5:45 and they run until 7:30. And then we clean up after that so that we can leave at 8 o'clock.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd encourage you all also, if you're interested, to be in touch with Kristen so that she can make sure you come to a class that, you know, she tries to maintain a good size so everybody has a good experience of it.
I didn't hear that last part, Kristen. It was very low, but I'm interested in being a part of a class as well. And I wanted to know, would we be a part of that Thursday evening class, or are there other virtual times as well?
There are other virtual times as well that Kathy has the dates, and she'll be able to share those, as well as we'll be coming up with other dates too.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
Tracy, we just kind of set our calendar for 2022. So we're going to be offering three opportunities for a 4-week experiential training, but we're also going to be offering an 8-week series in 2022. And I'm Jennifer, one of our technical hosts here, can put the information of that in the chat. And also in this program's profile after this session, and you all will be able to go there and download information that has websites to learn more about our resources and programs. And one of the sheets also has the dates for 2022's offerings. Yeah, we would love to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have shared both documents, one at the beginning and one at the end of the chat.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Liz. So we jotted down a couple of things in case you didn't have questions. We were going to expand a little bit on something that I mentioned in the presentation, that these classes can be offered as a standalone, which means, you know, sometimes we'll just offer one class to someone so that they can get a feel for what it is. Or we may just offer one class in the community because there's a need for that particular strength or skill. Like during the pandemic, I've offered self-care to different groups just as a single offering. But it is very impactful as well to do a whole series of classes. You can really see people grow into the poetry, grow into their own voice, grow into their confidence. But both options, you know, are certainly there. And I'm wondering if one of the facilitators or a couple of you could talk about co-facilitating and just your own journey from a participant to a facilitator, in case there are people here who are interested in facilitating these in their community.
I can talk.
Go ahead, Athena.
Okay. I'll touch briefly on co-facilitation. I find that co-facilitation takes kind of the pressure off, and knowing that I have someone that's going to be alternating the script with me is really helpful. So I can engage with the participants, and that person can kind of do monitoring to make sure everything is flowing well. And then we just switch places. Then I can, you know, feel around the room, make sure everyone's good, and we keep flowing with the script. I like co-facilitation because of that aspect of it. Kristen?
I really enjoy both. I like having the opportunity to co-facilitate too, for the reasons that Athena said. Also, it's nice for the participants to hear different voices. But I also appreciate leading solo sessions as well, because I find that I create sometimes a deeper connection with the group.
Mhm.
You're
Oh,
muted,
Martha,
Martha.
I think you're muted.
Quite hit that button correctly. Thank you. I have had the pleasure of co-facilitating with both Athena and Kristen. Kristen and I co-facilitate the 4 Saturday training in which we present one of the sessions in each of those trainings, one of the poetry sessions. And I couldn't do it without her. Let me just be real clear. Most of the sessions I give are community-based sessions now, and I am the sole presenter. So I agree. There's this great value and pleasure in sharing the load, as well as going it alone. And I agree with Kristen, there is sort of an extra level of intimacy when there's one presenter, and a really great diversion, or not diversion, but diversity of voice when you have 2 presenters. It really is interesting. Each of us, of course, looks at things through our own lens and shares it slightly differently. Even you'll find that when you read the script, you are you and you are there. And it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you all. And Martha, you have a beautiful poem called Flying Solo. I remember you wrote it right on the verge of facilitating for the first time. So even that experience, you know, prompted you to reflect and write about it.
Thank you, Kathy.
One of my favorites.
Thank
Yeah.
I don't know what our time looks like, but I wanted to talk about one thing that struck in my spirit, the invitation for people to feel comfortable not writing, but feel just being there. So just keep in mind, in the script, everything is done by invitation. We invite people to listen. We invite people to open up and discuss. We invite people to write. We invite people to share. So there's no pressure. And we find that we keep coming back because of that safety and security, knowing that I can just be here until I'm ready. And I remember the first time one of our participants actually wrote something. It was in session 6, and it was where we created the poem. And he wrote something so profound, and we were just in awe. We just sat there just in awe of the fact that he expressed himself. And it was a beautiful moment. And it's just things like that that kept me wanting to be a facilitator and keep coming back to see the change in other people. And that deep, intimate connection is there because of what we're sharing. And it's a safe space. I just wanted to talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to lift up what Paige wrote here. Sometimes just being in the environment can be healing.
It's true.
Yes. So we totally welcome and invite that for someone to just come and be there. And, you know, I often say in the training, I'm really thankful for someone who doesn't want to write off, because it's a great demonstration to everyone that we really do mean it when we say we invite with no pressure. They'll see that, you know, we're just fine with that. So thank you for bringing that up, Athena. That's an important point. Where can we sign up for a class? In the sheets that Jennifer is providing, there are web addresses. And if you click on the web addresses, they'll lead you to the website that describes the program, and that also brings you to a place where you can register for those 2022 classes.
I see that link is in the chat.
Good, great, thank you. Yeah, the Institute for Poetic Medicine supports this project, and they also support a website. And they have a registrar that will walk you through the process of registering for the classes and send out the reminders for the class and materials for the class. And so we're very fortunate to have that kind of support.
And we're excited for 2022. Martha and I will be training folks on those 4 Saturday sessions in February, July, and October. And Athena and I are going to be facilitating the 8 series of sessions beginning May 6th through June 24th. And we can't wait. We hope that you will sign up.
Sign up, become a facilitator, attend the session. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, I actually want to say we need more facilitators because the demand for this is greater than we're going to be able to meet. You know, when we pivoted online and we offered the first series online, like 90 people signed up. We trained, you know, many of them and they went back to their communities. But this year, our focus really was on NAMI and Clubhouse. We wanted to reach those organizations because both of those organizations value peer leadership. And we really want to offer peers that are involved in helping others. We want to offer them this tool, and we want to create a bigger team of facilitators that can help us meet the need.
Yes.
So we hope that you not only will go away from this class and sign yourself up, but please feel free to direct anyone in your communities or in your NAMI circles. Share those resources with them where they can learn about it. One of the things that will be on the website that you can click on is a free introductory webinar. And it's an expanded version of what I offered this evening. It's a pre-recorded, expanded sort of webinar that tells all about the program. So if you're interested in sharing what you learned here today with someone, you can go to that site or send them to that site and you can download that free webinar.
Thank you
we
so
hope
much.
you will help us reach more. I know we're coming up on the hour now, so I'll just ask if there's any other questions. And I'll also say that on the bottom, oh, I love this, a haiku. A poem comes to mind. Lines bring healing as I write. Words are medicine.
Okay, John.
Amen.
Amen. I love that. Words are medicine. And that's exactly what we believe and practice. Thank you.
I can't think of a better closing. Thank you so much. My name and email are at the bottom of the resource page. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'd love to reach out.
Thanks, you guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, Paige. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Becca.
you, Jennifer.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you,
for
John.
your
Thank you,
support.
Tracy. Thank you, Samina.
Everybody go well and
Thanks,
have a lovely
Tracy.
weekend. Hope we hear from you.
Bye, shalom.